And first up, we have Ohio State at Michigan. The line is -3.5. It opened at 4 after last Saturday. Opened at 4. Could have gotten Ohio State at 4, but I don't need that. I don't need that at all. It's in Michigan. It's in the big house. I understand that there's no Jim Harbaugh. I understand that they might have some banged up injuries on the offensive line. I understand that Michigan had a tough week with Maryland last week. I don't care. Give me Michigan at 3.5. I think this is a better football team than Ohio State. Give me the better team at home.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. I think what this line tells me that Vegas thinks these teams are even on neutral site. It's a pick 'em. And the 3.5 with Michigan, yes, that hook definitely sucks. It's gone down for sure, which would be nice, but I'm agree with you. I'm going to go Michigan. It's because this team is so evenly matched. But give me JJ McCarthy over Common Core. I know he's taking a lot of flack against what happened with Penn State, going 7 for 8. I'm sorry, he went 7 for 8.
Yeah, so sorry he didn't throw the ball a ton.
He didn't go 8 for 8, and the 9th pass he threw was a pass interference call. So, good for him. But, yeah, I don't know. Common Core, to me, has impressed against bad teams. And I get you can say the same thing about JJ, but, I've seen in JJ in big games. I've seen against Ohio State in big games. I trust his mechanics. I trust his coaching. Just a little bit more than I do Common Core right now.
You know who also I trust? Roman Wilson. He's back.
Yeah.
He's healthy. He's probably going to play. Who knows if Henderson's playing? We don't know. We'll see about that offensive line, but they have depth there. If there's one spot this Michigan team has depth in, it is the offensive line.
Yes, which is big. And you saw that against Penn State where they went 7, 8 guys deep, sometimes not on the same field at the same time, which is incredible. I do think that's going to be their key to success here, establishing a run game. I think the real matchup here is the Ohio State front against that Michigan front. Right, Ohio State's front is good, really, really good. Their strength of their team right now has been their defense. Okay, them and Michigan both have 2 of the top 10 defenses probably in the country, and obviously it's going to be explosive plays in the run game, which I think Michigan can generate. Although I do trust Trayvon Henderson to give you one. He'll give you one in the game. Obviously, Michigan hopes to eliminate as much as possible. The other side is, how do you combat Marvin Harrison? Healthy out Mecca Buga. Obviously, Cade Stover. I think Cade Stover's a monster. I think he makes some big plays here, but I just don't trust Common Core. If they get after him, I think Ohio State has a real problem on their O-line. And Michigan boys up front, damn good. They're damn good. They can really get after McCord, and we saw that. When he gets pressured, he is not the same quarterback. He doesn't quite have the escapability that McCarthy has, right? The agileness that McCarthy has to get after or to get extend plays and let his guys develop and just throw up balls for Marvin Harrison and the other talented weapons they have on offense.
Yeah, I also think with Marvin Harrison Jr., right, obviously he's going to be a focal point of this offense. I think the Michigan secondary has been very effective all year. Granted, we haven't really played a ton of teams that can throw the ball very effectively, but let's not kid ourselves. Has Ohio State genuinely thrown the ball effectively aside from the Western Kentucky game? Like, genuinely? Have they dominated the team?
I thought last week against Minnesota was pretty underwhelming. I know they covered and they won big, but Minnesota, first of all, was playing not to lose that game. Okay, and I get some of that strategy does hurt the downfield as well as the passing game, but at the same time, if you can't block Ja Joyner, who I love, by the way, love for Minnesota, how are you going to block Chris Jenkins and everybody else up front? Braden McGregor, how are you going to block those guys? Junior Colt, coming from depth, yeah, this is a good Michigan front, really good Michigan front.
So you're taking 3.5 as well?
Yeah, I'm going to take 3.5 as well.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Now, Ohio State could win this football game. I mean, they're talented enough to do that, right? If you get a couple explosive plays, a couple turnovers, right? Yep. JJ McCarthy in some big games has been prone to turning the ball over, even not so big games. So it's if you can force JJ McCarthy to make those errors early on and get out to a jump and force Michigan to throw the ball, I think there's a chance that Ohio State has to win this game. I know a lot of people like taking Ohio State at 3 in the hook. I don't blame you for doing that, but we will not be doing that on this show. We will not be doing that.
Now, Ohio State fans, I'd love to ask you a question genuinely. If you lose this game, right? If somehow, some way, I'm not saying it happens, but if you're a Ohio State fan and you lose this game, and Ryan Day is 0 for 3 in his last Michigan games, and he lost not even to Jim Harbaugh, but Sherrone Moore, who's a very respected head coach, or very respected interim head coach for them, obviously. But how do you feel about Ryan Day? Obviously, I'm not insinuating he should be fired at all, but I know that fan base is a greedy fan base. I know you have high expectations for a reason. That's unacceptable. It's beat Michigan or get out, right? For Ohio State, they've run away some good coaches because they couldn't beat Michigan, right? How are you going to feel about Ryan Day and the future of your program if this is the 3rd straight loss to Michigan, even though you are dogs?
How are you going to feel about your program if Ryan Day goes to Texas A&M?
Come on.
I know,
come
dude.
on.
Can you believe those rumors?
I think he's got a better chance to be right there, right in the Bears.
That steam. Look, I'm a Texas A&M fan. You don't follow the show. Understand that I'm a Texas A&M fan, and I'm not willing to wager on this show, but Ryan Day will not be the next coach of Texas A&M. Not because I wouldn't want him, but I do not believe that he will be the next coach there.
No, to me, yeah. But you did mention a good point though about this coaching matchup's really interesting.
It's really interesting. Like what happens like late in the game, there's a fourth down. Show more like is he the guy that's ready to go for it in those situations? Is he the guy that says, hey, let's play not to lose, right? In those situations, I think sometimes you got to play to win. So I don't know what Sharon Moore's tendencies are in the fourth quarter. So we'll have to see that. We'll have to see those big coaching decisions that he's going to have to make. We know Ryan Day is very adept at making those decisions, so I'm not worried about him. But the coaching matchup is definitely a factor. For sure.
I do think that's a good point though. Like we talked about the impact of Jim Harbaugh not being there, right? This is the last game of this suspension, right? There may be more, who knows, but this suspension, this is his last game he has to serve. Obviously, the most important of their season. The thing here is like you mentioned it. Jim Harbaugh is not like a game. He's a great game manager, right? On the field, he knows when to go fourth down, when to punt, all that stuff, right? Or what do you want? Check a call on third down or whatever. Thing is in practice, like he's not an offensive play caller, he's not a defensive play caller, so he is not really affecting the game in terms of like every play. But he's been so like it's not that big of a deal. But you mentioned it though, in a big game, like it come down to something like that.
I agree.